This is the 2026 Honda Pilot EXL. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're back at Holmes Honda today in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're going to go over the particulars on this Pilot and give you all of the details. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. The exterior color on this model is Sonic Gray. We're going to find our LED daytime running lights. You're right here. And then I've got the turn signal on the other side just so you can see how that looks over there. And then our headlights, low and high beams here. And then down here on the lower portion of the bumper, something that seems to be a popular item among a lot of you, fog lights. So if you're looking for a Honda SUV with fog lights, this is one to consider. And then I don't know how well you can see it through here, but you have some very large air curtains that allow air to flow through the front end. Going to be on both sides of the front end here. Now, speaking of the front end, here's where you're going to find some of the big changes with this refresh for 2026. The grille is a little bit larger. You'll notice this area right here looks a little bit more bold. It also looks a little familiar. I'm curious to know what you think about that because it looks more like the Passport, the 26 Passport, than the Pilot has in the last couple of years. Now, this model is going to come in front-wheel drive, but all-wheel drive is available if that's something you want. You're going to have your 18-inch wheels. I'm curious to know what you think about this particular wheel style. Do you like it? Do you not? Tell me what you think. We'll move our way up here to the side view mirrors, and almost every feature that I know a lot of you like will be here. Turn signal indicators built in. They're heated. They're power adjustable. You have your blind spot monitoring, but the only thing they are not is power folding. But you know what? For most people, I don't think that's too big of a deal. Now, let's talk about your remote, because there are a few things to talk about here. You're going to have lock, unlock, remote start. You can open and close your power tailgate back there, which, by the way, is standard across all trim levels now. And you have your panic button. Now, one thing I do want to mention right here, if I can get my finger in here and make this work. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. You have a key right here. What exactly is that for? If the battery in the remote dies, you can actually come right here and there's going to be a place where you can lock and unlock right down there. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if we can give you a good view of that. But that's where that is going to be located if that happens to be something that you need. By the way, this is a proximity key. You have the walk away feature. You can make some adjustments in your center screen on that if you want to. We're going to have the roof rails up top, so if you need the crossbars to increase your cargo space when you're on those vacations and long road trips and all that good stuff, that's going to be there. The gas tank size, for those that may want to know, is 18.5 gallons. Now, here is some useful information. Driving distance on a single tank of gas in the city is 351 miles. Out on the highway, about 500 miles. That's not guaranteed. The good news about it not being guaranteed, as funny as that might sound, is that you might be above those numbers. There's a lot of variables that factor into that. So that's the situation. We'll finish things off here with our taillights. A very nice look. The large Pilot logo. I like the color combination here with the gloss black and the finish on the Pilot logo itself. And then we work our way down here and we're going to find our vents right here, or what seem to be exhaust vents, or should I say exhaust outlets, not vents. You can laugh at me for that. But while it isn't functional, I do like the fact that it's here. It just looks better, in my opinion, when you have something like this on the rear as opposed to just having the bumper. One thing I know a lot of you were hoping for with the Pilot for 2026 was a hybrid powertrain. Not going to be the case. We're still going to have the dual overhead cam 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6. Puts out 285 horsepower and 262 pounds-feet of torque, and will be mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And you might not be able to see these numbers, so I'm going to tell you what they are as far as the MPGs go. 19 city, 27 highway, 22 combined. 4.5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. When you go front-wheel drive with the Pilot, the towing capacity is 3,500 pounds. However, if you go all-wheel drive, it's going to jump up to 5,000 pounds. And your cargo capacity is 48.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats. Fold the second row down, we're looking at 87 cubic feet and a max of 111.8 cubic feet of cargo space. Now, let's back up here real quick. I do want to show you something real quick. You'll notice that the tailgate is really low. What do you do about that? Well, if you want to raise it or lower it, depending on your situation, right here above the button, it says hold to set height. So I'm going to hold that just like this. We're going to listen for the beeps. Now, Give you a quick little demonstration. When I open this back up, it's going to open back up to that fully extended height compared to where it was set before. So depending on where you need to set it, you can do that. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything crazy to make that change. Now, here with the rear seats, I did want to show you that you can recline the seats. So you can see back here that one seat is reclined and one is not quite as much. But just so you can see how that works, there you go. Now I'm going to lower these seats so you can see how everything looks when it's maximized. And do that. There you go with maximized cargo space. And there is quite a bit, as you can see. And then we're gonna have a little bit of space under the floor right here. And you might wonder about the way this area is set up. You can remove the middle seat in the middle row and store it right down here. It's made for that. This strap is meant to hold it in place. And so you've got a couple of little options where that is concerned. And you can also flip this floor upside down. It's two-sided. You've got the carpeted side, which is covered right now. There you go, there's a carpeted side, and you have that plastic side when you need to take advantage of that. And don't worry, I told you about removing this seat. It's the only one you can remove, but I'm gonna show you how that works. So the first thing we need to do is grab right here, we grab this release, we fold the seat flat, and then right here in the front is another release. So we're gonna pull on that, you're gonna raise the back of the seat up, and then you just take it right up and take it out of the vehicle this way, out of the Pilot. There we go, a little bit hard to do that with that door opening, and then it just goes right back here, just like that. You can strap that down and you're good to go. All right, let's talk about what your second and third row passengers are going to find. Now, one thing you won't find is right up here. There is no sunroof, so for those of you that don't want a sunroof, I know that's my preference, there is that option for you. Now let's talk about the door panel. We're going to start off with the shade right here. You can put that shade in place manually if you want to. We have the nice large armrest, a little bit of padding built in there, actually quite a bit, that makes it very comfortable. Then we're going to have the upper and the lower door bins right here. Got a couple of cup holder options there if you need those. Now, something that's nice for your rear seat passengers, your third row passengers, is going to be right here. The fact that these seats move back and forth. Now, it's only the outboard seats. The middle row seat doesn't actually do that. To gain access to the third row, there's a button on the bottom side of the seat right here. You can see that. When you push that button, that will allow the seat to get right up there out of the way. And I am going to hop back here and show you how things look with the seats back pretty far. Now, depending on where these seat backs are positioned, you have quite a bit of head space. If you sit straight up, a little bit less, but it's not too bad. Adults can actually fit back here. However, one thing I do wish was here that isn't, is you have the air conditioning vents built in right here. I'd rather have that in the roof area because it seems to be closer to the passenger that way, or at least to their face. That seems to work better. We're also going to have a couple of cup holders right there and the USB port. You can see the same thing over here on this side. Overall, I'd say for a three-row SUV, there is a reasonable amount of space. And one more thing, there's a button right here on the back of the seat if I need to push that to get out in case the middle row passengers forget about me. So let's talk about second row. Plenty of space, a little bit more. Now that will be dependent on where the front seats are located, but there is a lot more leg space here. So for those who need it, guess what? You have it. And we're gonna have the fold down center console, we'll say right here, if you want to call it that. Gonna have the cup holders here and a little bit of space. You can use that as an armrest, but honestly it needs to be a little bit higher in my opinion. But I understand why it's not, because that would protrude too much into the third row area back there. We'll put that back up out of the way. We're gonna have the rear seat pockets on the back of each seat if you want to take advantage of that for storage. And the rear of the center console features the air conditioning vents right here. Get that to come on for us. That's going to be on high right now, but we can adjust that all the way down if we want to, and then we can drop the temperature if we need to do that. So there's your third zone of climate control. And last but not least, something that I know a lot of you like to check off, right down here is going to be your USB ports. We'll also find the new graphics that are going to be here on the driver's display. How about the sticker price? $46,445. The average price of a new vehicle as of when I'm making this video in January of 2026 is about $50,000. So you still come in under that with this Pilot. Let's see what else you get. Now we're going to start up here. Not a whole lot to talk about with the upper console, but you can see you've got your SOS right there. And we're going to have the conversation mirror. Not all Hondas have this anymore. Some more of them used to than do, but you have the conversation mirror right there and the sunglass holder. So it's a multitasker. And then we'll work our way down here on the passenger side. I like the space that Honda uses right here. That's good to have. It's not just the glove box, a little bit of space above that for the phone or whatever will sit right there. And there is the bag. You have a spare tire with this vehicle. Let me show you this real quick. So here's the bag that has mainly, let's see if I can get it out of here, a couple of different things. I wasn't planning on this. That is your wheel lock key. So if you go to change a tire, you're going to need this. You put it into the tire iron and it lets you take off the wheel lock that are on each wheel, and that's where that is found. So this is what you're going to look for if that's what you're in need of. Now we're going to move over to the passenger side door panel over there and take a look at what we have. Plenty of space, once again, just like the rear doors, and the upper and the lower door bins with the cup holders right there up front. A lot of nice space, that's for sure. Now, let me grab the camera real fast, and we'll move over here to the driver's side. We're going to have seat memory right here. We're going to have the controls for our power side view mirrors, lock and unlock for the mirror or door locks, and the windows will be right there. You can lock and unlock those. Now, one thing to note here is you have one touch down, one touch up at all 4 doors with your windows. And you'll also find that you can open and close the power tailgate right here. On this side of the steering wheel, the left-hand side, you're going to have the control or release, I should say, right there for adjusting the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And you'll have adaptive cruise control right here. That brings me back to safety features. Honda Sensing is here. That's adaptive cruise control, road departure mitigation, collision mitigation, lane keeping assist, and traffic jam assist. You can control the radio right here, and you have your voice commands, and if you want to, you can go through the different information that's available. I'm just using the scroll wheel right there to do that. If I want to go in and select something, then I can do that just by pushing on the scroll wheel, and then we can go back home by canceling that. We can go back home here and scroll our way back out. And something else that's interesting, obviously you have your turn signal indicator right there, your turn signal stalk, but when you turn your headlights on, you're going to notice that the headlights come on the likeness of your Pilot down there. When you push the brakes, that comes on as well, and so do your turn signals. Just kind of an interesting little thing that is there. So quite a bit going on where that is concerned. Now we can also go through information here on the right-hand side. So depending on what you need to see, you can use the scroll wheel to go through that. You do have your built-in navigation if you want to use that. It depends on what it is you want to see. You can see your range and all that good stuff there. And your gas gauge is here, and your temperature is going to be right over there. And we'll work our way to something that I think is going to be one of the most popular changes of 2026. Gone is the 9-inch and the 7-inch touchscreens. Standard across all trim levels is what you see right here, the 12.3-inch touchscreen. So you're going to have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Alexa is here. You can pair your smartphone, and then vehicle settings. Now this is going to be very different from what a lot of you are used to with the Pilot. You can see everything that's here. Your power tailgate setup is going to be right here. So depending on what you need to do with that, you can take advantage of that. We can go back out of that screen right here and work our way through everything else. Now, if your color of your Pilot is not the same color you see on the screen right here and you want to change it, you can go to body color right here. So if it was white, for example, you could change that, or you may just have a color you prefer as far as your on-screen Pilot goes. It may not be the same exterior color you have on the outside. It just depends on your personal preference, but all of those colors are going to be there. Just one of those interesting little things that you can change if you want to. Then you have your general settings right here, just to show you what's going on. 2 different pages worth as far as that goes. You saw that it said camera right there, so I'm going to go into reverse. Now in this case, we only have the multi-view rear view camera, the same thing we've had on the Pilot for the last few years, but depending on trim level and options, you can have multiple views all over the vehicle, front, rear, sides, all that. Now you do have your parking sensors. That's what all of this is indicating over there. So you have your parking sensors as far as that goes. That's going to get the job done for you. Curious to know, do you like this screen? I know a lot of you said 9 inches was too small. So let's see what we have as we work our way down. We're going to go down to our air conditioning controls. You do have dual zone climate control, as I mentioned, heated seats for the driver and passenger in the front seat area. You can choose if you're adjusting the front or the rear. It just depends on what you might want to do. We can go and do that. You can see what all is there. A little bit of space right here. Some cell phones might fit there. We'll also find a couple of USB ports and a 12-volt power outlet. If you need that, there's also a 12-volt power outlet back there in the rear I forgot to tell you about in the cargo area, and your wireless charging pad. We're going to have our shifter right here, the push button shifter that some people like and some people don't. It just depends on the situation. There's no neutral ground, it seems, where that is concerned. Now, we're going to work our way back up here. I'm going to show you the driving modes up here, or at least tell you what they are. I'm not sure how easily we can show that to you. In fact, I'll just grab the camera. You're going to have normal to start with. Then we're going to have econ, snow, tow mode, and then all the way up there at the top, you can see that we have sport mode. And a few more controls to talk about here. That is your drive mode selector right here. You can turn the auto stop start on and off. You have hill start assist and hill descent control. We also have our power parking brake and brake hold mode for those that like to use that. Brake hold mode means when you come to a complete stop, the brakes stay engaged until you touch the gas pedal again. The center console lid doubles as an armrest. I like that. It's comfortable, plenty of room where that's concerned. And speaking of plenty of room, let's get this open. There is the center console interior, and there is a lot of space within. All right, here we go on the test drive, and I'll let you hear the railroad tracks. That's a little bit better than what we've had in the past with the Pilot. Now, you will notice some improved road noise, a little bit of a reduction on that. That comes from semi-tempered glass, and there is now more insulation in the doors and the hood. I can't say I can tell a massive difference, but maybe a little bit. This depends, I would say, on what your expectations on whether you say thumbs up or thumbs down in that particular area of the changes that we see for 2026. Still going to have a nice, comfortable ride quality. It's going to have a good turning radius for a mid-size SUV, and quite versatile because you can have front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive if you need all-wheel drive on a regular basis throughout the year with low traction situations, or you want that max towing capability that comes with all-wheel drive, then that's a good thing. That option is there for you. Easy to learn and use technology. I know this is new technology here for the Pilot. However, it's not hard to use. You just have to figure out your way around a little bit and you're good to go. Easy to see out of, and depending on the trim level you go with, as I mentioned earlier in the video, you might want more camera views, and obviously you can do that here with the Trail Sport, the Black Edition. Depends on what it is you want, but those features are available for you, and a lot of space for the driver and the passengers, especially in the first two rows, but a surprising amount in the third row compared to what we see in some three-row SUVs. And I like that you have a lot of adjustability built here into the driver's area with the driver's seat and the steering wheel, so you should be able to make yourself nice and comfortable no matter your height. And the gas and the brake pedal are responsive and easy to adjust to, especially that brake pedal. It doesn't take any time to get used to it because it's not overly aggressive, and it doesn't really seem to have a spongy feel to it. So, in my opinion, that's a nice balance. And there it is, the 2026 Honda Pilot EXL. Do you think this is the best bang for the buck trim level? You definitely get a lot for the money, there's no doubt about that, but I'm always curious to what you as consumers think about something like that when it comes to this particular model. I would like to say a special thanks to my friends at Holmes Honda for loaning us this Pilot for the day so we can tell you all about it, and a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give us the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. That's very helpful to us. Make sure to subscribe and share this video on your timelines on social media. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.